Last year, in its manifesto, Labour promised not to increase income tax and not to increase VAT. Does the Prime Minister still stand by his promises?
Ever wondered what fuels the busy life of Prime Minister Keir Starmer and his elegant wife, Victoria Starmer? Behind the political debates and packed schedules lies a surprisingly down-to-earth daily routine, one that might completely change how you see Britain's first couple. From early morning rituals to their go-to comfort foods, every meal tells a story of balance, discipline, and a hint of indulgence. But there's one dish that truly defines them. What does Keir Starmer really eat in a day? Now, let's uncover the full menu. The simple rituals behind Britain's most watched family. When people imagine the life of Britain's Prime Minister, they often picture a world of formality, endless meetings, grand banquets, and menus filled with dishes that sound more like speeches than meals. But step inside Keir and Victoria, Starmer's North London home, and the image changes completely. Behind the polished, public persona is a couple who live in a way that's surprisingly ordinary and quietly endearing. Their kitchen isn't a place of protocol or grandeur. It's a warm, lived-in space where the smell of home-cooked food mingles with laughter and where the day's pressures melt away in the comforting rhythm of family life. For the Starmers, mealtimes are not performances. They are pauses. Between speeches, briefings, and late-night strategy sessions, their dinner table becomes a sanctuary, a space where the conversation flows more easily than in any committee room. Those who know them say it's common to find Keir wearing an apron, chopping vegetables with quiet concentration, while Victoria stirs a simmering pot nearby. There's music in the background, maybe a bit of teasing over who burnt the onions, and always an ease that speaks of long companionship. Some nights it's homemade pasta, other nights it's a curry experiment that doesn't quite go to plan, but it's never about perfection. It's about presence. Friends describe Keir as a man who finds comfort in the classics: shepherd's pie, roast dinners, or a simple bowl of soup after a demanding day. Victoria, ever the health-conscious one, leans toward Mediterranean flavors, grilled fish, fresh herbs, and colorful salads. Their differing tastes balance each other out, much like their personalities. Where Keir is methodical, Victoria brings spontaneity. Where politics demands precision, the kitchen allows for gentle improvisation. Moderation, too, defines their household. There are indulgences, a slice of chocolate cake shared late at night, or a quiet dinner out to mark a small success. But there's always a return to balance. With her NHS background, Victoria understands how much well-being shapes performance. She's said to keep their pantry neatly stocked with whole grains, olive oil, and an array of fresh produce, with just enough treats to make life sweet but not excessive. Their shared love of cooking deepened during the 2020 lockdown. Like millions across Britain, they suddenly had more time at home, and in that stillness, they rediscovered the simple pleasure of cooking together. What began as a necessity soon became a ritual, experimenting with recipes, laughing at burnt attempts, and building memories in the midst of uncertainty. That period, friends say, brought them even closer, grounding them in routine when the world outside felt anything but stable. Even now, when political storms gather, it's the small domestic rituals that keep Keir centered. A Sunday roast with the family, a quick midweek meal made from fridge leftovers. These are his anchors. They remind him of who he is, away from the podium. Not a prime minister addressing a nation, but a husband, a father, and a man who still finds peace in the simple act of stirring a pot. There's even a well-loved story among staffers about a night when a takeaway order to Downing Street went terribly wrong. Instead of frustration, Keir and Victoria reportedly laughed, rolled up their sleeves, and whipped up a makeshift dinner from what was in the cupboards. It's that down-to-earth reaction, aides say, that captures the essence of who they are: steady, good-humored, and human. Because while politics demands control, the kitchen demands something far more honest: patience, teamwork, and the willingness to get things wrong. And for the Starmers, that's the beauty of it. Food in their home isn't about image or indulgence. It's about connection. The real story of Britain's first couple isn't written in policy documents or headlines, but in the soft clatter of plates, the aroma of garlic, and the laughter that follows a burnt toast. Behind the office of the Prime Minister stands a simple truth: that even the most powerful lives are sustained by ordinary moments. And for Keir and Victoria Starmer, those moments are found not in ceremony, but in supper. But what does a typical morning look like for Keir and Victoria Starmer before the weight of Westminster begins to stir? Warm and personal. The mornings at the Starmer household begin quietly, but with purpose. Long before Westminster stirs, the aroma of coffee and toasted sourdough fills their North London kitchen. Keir Starmer, calm, disciplined, and measured even under political fire, starts his day not with headlines or briefings, but with a frying pan in hand. His wife, Victoria Alexander, often joins him, sometimes in easy conversation, sometimes in peaceful silence. They laugh over little things, like who forgot to buy the eggs, or whose turn it is to make the tea. Their mornings are simple, grounded, and refreshingly human, a rare window into the private world of Britain's most public man. Breakfast is a ritual, not a rushed necessity. Sources close to the family say it's the one time Keir insists on keeping free from political calls or early meetings. Most mornings, Victoria prepares a healthy spread: fruit bowls, oats, and occasionally her specialty: poached eggs with avocado on toast, served with a touch of chili and lemon. Keir, however, keeps things minimal: porridge with honey or a slice of buttered toast paired with strong black coffee. He likes things done quickly, a friend once remarked, so he can sit by the window, read the news, and gather his thoughts before stepping into the storm of the day. Victoria, a lawyer by profession and fiercely private by nature, takes charge when it comes to more elaborate meals. She has a preference for Mediterranean-inspired dishes: grilled vegetables, feta, couscous, and olive oil, meals that mirror her love for simplicity and balance. Friends describe her as effortlessly elegant but deeply practical, someone who can host a formal dinner for visiting diplomats one evening and whip up a hearty lentil soup the next without fuss. Evenings in the Starmer home tell a more personal story. Once the noise of politics fades and the phones stop ringing, it's time to unwind. No aides, no advisors, just Keir and Victoria in their kitchen, often cooking side by side. For them, dinner isn't just about food, it's about connection. Keir enjoys making pasta from scratch, occasionally experimenting with simple tomato or basil sauces. Victoria, who prefers lighter, plant-based meals, complements his efforts with fresh salads or roasted vegetables. Sometimes they'll give in to a takeaway curry, a small, comforting act of rebellion against the order and formality that defines much of their week. Those close to the couple say mealtime is when they truly reconnect. It's their quiet bubble, one insider explained. No politics, no headlines, just normal conversation about work, family, or what they're watching on Netflix. In those quiet moments, laughter replaces policy talk, and the weight of leadership melts away, even if just for an hour. Weekends slow the pace further. On Saturdays, Keir often takes over the kitchen, preparing a full English breakfast: eggs, beans, sausages, and toast, with music playing softly in the background. It's one of the few times he completely switches off, finding calm in the ordinary rhythm of cooking. Sundays, however, belong to tradition. The Starmer family enjoys a roast dinner, something Keir grew up with and still treasures. Neighbors sometimes mention the familiar scent of roasted vegetables and herbs wafting through their open windows, a homely contrast to the chaos of Downing Street life. For Keir and Victoria, shared meals are more than just nourishment. They're a steadying ritual. Food is their quiet thread of connection, grounding them in love, laughter, and normalcy amid the constant noise of politics. In those calm, unguarded moments, away from the cameras, the meetings, and the speeches, they find something far more enduring than power: a sense of home, built on routine, respect, and the comfort of each other's company. The real surprise unfolds when these two step away from politics and into their kitchen, where ordinary meals turn into something far more revealing. Inside Keir Starmer's kitchen, where politics meets homemade chaos. In the heart of their London home, Keir Starmer and his wife Victoria share a ritual that has nothing to do with parliament debates or policy meetings. Away from the cameras and crowded schedules, their kitchen transforms into a space of laughter, mess, and memories. The kind that remind even the most serious politicians that life's sweetest victories often happen over a simmering pan of pasta. The Starmer kitchen, usually neat and polished, turns into an almost comic whirlwind of activity whenever the couple decides to cook together. Victoria, known for her calm and composed public image, becomes the commander-in-chief of recipes. She navigates ingredients with the precision of a seasoned chef, yet her husband approaches cooking with the enthusiasm of a man on a mission, determined, slightly chaotic, and endlessly curious.
With the President last night on the Middle East, on this very issue.
One can almost imagine him rolling up his sleeves, apron slightly askew, as if he's preparing for a press briefing. Only this time his opponent is a stubborn lump of dough that refuses to cooperate. Flour dusts the countertops like fresh snow. The aroma of garlic sizzling in olive oil fills the air while soft jazz hums in the background. Victoria's favorite playlist, they say. She moves with graceful efficiency, measuring, chopping, and stirring in a smooth rhythm. Keir, on the other hand, experiments like a scientist testing new theories. His creative approach to seasoning sometimes leads to raised eyebrows from Victoria, though her smile never fades. And when he insists on adding a little extra chili for flavor, it becomes a familiar moment of gentle teasing that speaks volumes about their bond. What's fascinating isn't the food itself, though neighbors have whispered about the mouth-watering smells that occasionally drift from their kitchen windows on quiet Sunday afternoons, but the dynamic between them. The man known for dissecting political arguments with calm precision turns into a surprisingly expressive cook. He debates over pasta sauce the same way he might handle a policy paper, thoughtfully, but with just enough intensity to make it entertaining. Victoria, ever the voice of reason, steps in to balance his boldness with her steady hand, turning potential culinary disasters into cozy domestic victories. And perhaps that's the charm. In a world where politics often feels detached from everyday life, their kitchen tells a different story, one of shared effort, teamwork, and laughter. There are no speeches here, no crowds or flashing cameras, just the sound of wooden spoons clattering against bowls, and the occasional burst of laughter when a cooking experiment goes hilariously wrong. Sometimes, dinner preparation turns into a full-blown event. Imagine a weeknight after a long day. Keir still in his shirt sleeves, Victoria in casual wear, both deciding to make homemade pizza instead of ordering out. The counters fill with toppings, the floor with scattered flour, and the air with the kind of relaxed energy that politics can never provide. Victoria arranges the ingredients neatly. Keir insists on taking charge of the dough, stretching it into shapes that look more like maps of unfamiliar countries than perfect circles. Yet when the pizza comes out of the oven, bubbling and imperfect, they both laugh. Because it isn't about perfection, it's about the joy of doing it together. Even the cleanup becomes part of the fun. There's playful debate over who left the cheese uncovered or who's responsible for the flour trails on the floor. Sometimes, Keir hums an old tune while washing dishes, lost in thought, but visibly at peace. A rare sight for a man constantly under public scrutiny. Those who know the couple well say these evenings are their reset button, moments when they trade the world's weight for something far simpler and far more meaningful. In many ways, their kitchen mirrors the partnership they've built, a balance of order and spontaneity, laughter and quiet understanding. And perhaps that's what makes their story relatable. Beneath the headlines and political titles lies something deeply human, a husband and wife finding joy in the ordinary. So while the world watches Keir Starmer navigate the corridors of power, somewhere beyond the spotlight, there's another scene unfolding, a clinking of pans, the scent of herbs in the air, and two people discovering that the best kind of leadership often begins at home, one meal at a time. Even the busiest leaders have secret weekend rituals. But what happens when the Prime Minister's power moves begin not in Parliament, but in his own kitchen? A taste of balance. Behind the sharp suits, press conferences, and Westminster debates, there's a quieter side to Keir Starmer, one that plays out not under bright political lights, but beneath the soft glow of a kitchen lamp on a Saturday morning. Those who have seen him in this rare element often describe a man who swaps policy papers for pancake batter, and who, alongside his wife, builds a home grounded not in perfection, but in balance. Every now and then, shoppers at a small North London grocery store spot a familiar figure pushing a modest trolley. Keir's wife, casually dressed, quietly selecting the week's essentials. Hidden among the organic vegetables and neatly stacked groceries, there's always something unexpected. A packet of Haribo Tangfastics. It's a small, colorful indulgence that says more about the Starmer's family philosophy than any political speech could. They don't completely avoid sugar or indulgence. They simply manage it. For them, life, much like politics, is about moderation.
To go after these vile criminals, I've long said, grooming is an awful crime.
The Tangfastic sighting, as tabloids jokingly called it in early 2024, quickly became a symbol of the couple's down-to-earth domestic life. It reminded people that behind the prime ministerial figure lies a family who, like countless others, believes that joy doesn't always have to be measured or scheduled. Sometimes it just comes in a bright red, sweet packet. Weekends at the Starmer home are said to begin with a familiar rhythm: pancakes sizzling on the stove, music from an old radio, and the laughter of two people who find small happiness in routine. Keir, ever the perfectionist, insists on flipping the pancakes himself, while his wife, with effortless calm, arranges fruit toppings and pours syrup with precision that would impress any food stylist. Some mornings, they experiment with beetroot pancakes or add a pinch of cinnamon for adventure. Other times, they keep it simple: golden stacks, drizzled with honey and a side of tea. But the real magic unfolds during their Friday pizza nights, a ritual that started long before Keir's rise in politics. When schedules allow, they roll up their sleeves, spread flour across the counter, and make pizzas from scratch. There's often debate, extra cheese or not, pineapple, yes or no, but the evening always ends the same way: 2 homemade pizzas, laughter, and a movie they probably won't finish watching. It's this picture of normalcy that people close to the couple say keeps them grounded. While Keir's public life revolves around policy and pressure, his private life values presence over perfection. And that extends to how they eat. Nutritionist Lucia Stanby once noted that families like the Starmers, who avoid extremes and teach balance, often raise healthier, more self-aware individuals. When people learn to enjoy treats without guilt, she explained, they develop lifelong positive relationships with food. The Starmers' dining habits reflect that philosophy. They eat healthy most days: grilled fish, roasted vegetables, fresh fruit, but they don't shy away from takeout when the week gets busy. Fish and chips from their favorite spot near Hampstead Heath, or a simple Chinese takeaway from down the street, often make their Friday nights feel complete. These aren't indulgences. They're reminders that comfort food and connection matter just as much as kale salads and quinoa bowls. Celebrations in the Starmer household are simple but meaningful. Birthdays bring out the chocolate cake, rich, homemade, and topped with just enough frosting to feel like a celebration. Holidays follow suit: Easter eggs for nostalgia, mince pies at Christmas, and the occasional glass of mulled wine by the fire. For them, traditions aren't about extravagance. They're about warmth, shared laughter.
Or we have the stability of a Labour government coming in, stabilising the economy with a credible plan for the future.
And the soft hum of family moments that politics can't touch. What makes their story intriguing isn't luxury or glamour, it's relatability. In a world where politicians are often seen as distant, Keir and his wife quietly live by values that mirror those of the people they represent: balance, kindness, and a belief that joy can be found in the ordinary. So, the next time you see a photo of Keir Starmer in Parliament, stern and serious, imagine the scene a few hours later: an apron tied around his waist, flour on his hands, flipping pancakes while his wife laughs at the uneven shapes. Behind every leader, there's a life that keeps them human. And in the Starmer home, that humanity smells faintly of syrup, pizza dough, and something Britain might just need a little more of: genuine warmth. When nutritionist Lucia Stansby examined the Starmers' real eating habits, what surprising truth did she uncover about the couple behind Britain's most talked-about kitchen? The simple secrets behind Britain's most unexpectedly balanced family diet. When nutritionist Lucia Stansby first looked into the eating habits of Keir Starmer and his wife, she expected the usual story: busy schedules, skipped breakfasts, and the occasional late-night takeaway. After all, balancing the demands of public life and family isn't easy. But what she found instead was a quiet revelation, a home menu that, while far from glamorous, reflected a balance that many modern families only dream of achieving. Take, for instance, their Sunday ritual in their North London kitchen. While most households rush through breakfast, the Starmers prefer to take it slow. For them, mornings are not a race against the clock, but a quiet moment of connection before the day begins. Keir is known to start the morning with a bowl of oats, topped with fresh berries, and a drizzle of honey. Not because it's fashionable, but because, as his wife once joked, it keeps him human. Nutrition experts note that this simple combination offers a powerful trio of benefits: fiber to aid digestion, antioxidants to fight fatigue, and natural sugars that sustain energy and focus. It's a modest, yet meaningful ritual, one that gives him clarity and calm before stepping into the storm of political life. His wife, on the other hand, leans toward vibrant Mediterranean flavors. Her plate often features olives, grilled vegetables, and light couscous salads. At first glance, these might seem like luxurious choices, but, as dietitian Lucia Stansby points out, they're far more than that. Olives are rich in healthy fats and probiotics, helping improve heart health and digestion, a valuable combination in a household where stress and long hours are part of the daily rhythm. It's these small, consistent habits, she says, that create resilience over time. But what stands out most isn't just what the Starmers eat, it's how they eat. Dinner, for example, is a family ritual grounded in simplicity and care. While Keir might be seen chopping vegetables after work, his wife often leads the charge with wholesome dishes. Think pasta loaded with greens and lean protein, or vegetable curry simmering with spices. Nutritionists agree that such meals, balanced with complex carbohydrates, fiber, and protein, sustain both body and mind. They're the kind of meals that nourish energy long after the cameras stop rolling. Their occasional indulgences, too, say much about their balanced approach to food. Fridays are usually lighter in tone. Sometimes it's homemade pizza night. Other times, a glass of wine shared over easy conversation. Stansby notes that these little treats actually strengthen a person's long-term relationship with food. When people allow themselves to enjoy something occasionally, she explains, they're less likely to crave or overindulge later. It's about balance, not restriction. Experts also highlight the emotional strength in the Starmers' dining habits. Shared meals, even something as simple as roasted vegetables or stir-fry, create space for connection, laughter, and grounding after long days. In a world of rush dinners and takeaway boxes, their commitment to sitting together feels quietly radical. Lucia's final analysis captures it best. The Starmer household represents a rare balance: practical, thoughtful, and rooted in normalcy.
Until the last few weeks, nobody was discussing spending cuts.
There are no extravagant ingredients, no celebrity chef techniques, just real food, made with care and shared with intention. So while headlines may focus on policies, debates, and Parliament, perhaps the truest story of the Starmers lies in those smaller, unguarded moments. A pot simmering on the stove, a meal shared, and a reminder that true balance isn't perfection, but consistency built one plate at a time. And it leaves us wondering, could Keir Starmer's secret to staying grounded lie not in his office, but in his kitchen? So, what do you think their everyday meals reveal about the man leading Britain and the woman beside him? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe.